This next topic is brought to us by Nissan. The Armada Player of the Week is brought to you by our friends at Nissan and the all-new 2025 Nissan Armada. Each week, we take a look at a draft prospect and pick a guy that stands apart, the guy we believe showcases the strength and power needed to push the Browns forward as we look ahead to 2025. And this week's Armada and clear-cut Player of the Week is none other than Travis Hunter. You want to talk about a heavy-duty player? This guy played over 100 snaps each game, playing both offense and defense. You can't do that unless you're rugged. He dreamt big, he went big, and he conquered all his stops in his college career, winning the Heisman this most recent season at Colorado. It's clear that our Player of the Week is out here ready to conquer the road ahead with confidence, just like you can in the all-new Nissan Armada or any of their outstanding vehicles. Take the Nissan Armada, Rogue, or Pathfinder and go find your next big adventure. Shop NissanUSA.com. Guys, draft week is here, finally. Thank goodness. Draft week is here, and silly season is almost officially behind us. There was a report this week from Mike Florio. It came out over the weekend. The teams are interested in trading up to number 2 to take Shedeur Sanders. This is according to Mike Florio via an experienced talent evaluator over recent days. Gee, before we dive into this, and we can get on the back end of this, whether or not you believe this report to be true, or this is just GMs and talent evaluators trying to stir up some commotion prior to the draft. But, gee, if a team traded up to 2 and the Browns traded out of that number 2 position to allow another team to draft Shedeur Sanders or a quarterback, considering the Browns needed the position, how would you feel?
So you asking me, if somebody moved up and they wanted Shedeur Sanders.
And the Browns traded out of the position.
Where did they land?
It's irrelevant for this conversation.
Not really.
I mean, that's
See, I thought that too. I mean, are they going down 2 spots, 3 spots?
If it's the Giants,
are they going down 8 spots?
I don't know how to answer that question. I'm thinking more if a team traded up to 2 to take the quarterback.
I know what Mike's
Browns
saying.
Willingly passed.
Mike is saying, here's Shedeur. You have him. We don't want him.
Right.
How would that make you feel?
Yes,
right?
I only have half the information. It just depends on where we're dropping and who we're getting.
Right.
And without knowing that, I can't answer that.
Look, if it's the Giants and they're like, listen.
I don't think it's the Giants.
Okay, well, that means that I ain't at 3. Is it the Patriots?
Wherever you're going, it's costing you
I don't think it's
Travis
the Patriots
Hunter.
either.
It's costing you Travis Hunter.
No. We will not do that. We're not getting it.
But again, I don't want to take away from I think Mike's original question was basically you're handing Shedeur Sanders to another team.
Okay, that's fine.
And you're right? Am I getting?
Yeah, you're understanding what I was trying to ask.
Okay. It's not so much. It's not so much where you're going and what you're getting back. It's the fact that you have a chance to take Shedeur, and you're saying we don't want him. You take him.
Well,
that part doesn't bother me.
What me is
losing out on Travis Hunter bothers the hell out of me, and we would. So no.
So if it's like if it was like, hey, you can pass on Shedeur and then get Travis Hunter, sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
But I don't like Jay said. I don't know what scenario that exists because it's not going to be the Giants.
It's not going to be the Giants.
It's not going to be
the Patriots. I don't think it's going to be the Patriots.
So it's not the Giants, the Jaguars, or the Patriots.
The way I looked at this was it's not going to be the Giants because the Giants know you're not taking them at 2,
right.
so they're not.
So they would
up.
just sit tight and take them at 3.
So whoever you're dropping below. The Giants at that point, I think, would take Travis Hunter, would they not?
Absolutely.
So that's why I was kind of making the assumption wherever you're falling, you're not going to. Now, maybe you get Abdul Carter.
I do think there's a world where they would take Abdul Carter, the Giants, at number 3. I do think that exists
too. But if Travis Hunter's on the board, I think they take Travis Hunter.
But now at 4, he's off the board.
So now,
and you're not going to get in. So are you trading?
Now you got Abdul Carter if you're going to 4.
But the Patriots wouldn't trade up from 4 because they have Drake May.
No,
so you could take the Patriots out of the equation. They're not going to 4.
And that's what I'm doing in my calculations. He's not going there. So you potentially, I think, if you made that move, you're losing Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter.
Yes,
full stop.
For the sake of this discussion, you're moving back far enough that you would not get either of those two.
No, that would be a terrible move, and I wouldn't do it.
Here's why you do it. You guys know what I'm going to say.
Oh,
at least
Lord.
you should. No,
if you think he's your guy.
Nope.
Okay.
If you get a future 1. If you get a 1 next year, because this is all about the quarterback.
No, you're right.
It's all about the quarterback. So if you get a 1 to where you can then move up in 26, they are telling you, we don't like these quarterbacks. We're going to wait till next year to try and find our quarterback.
If you pass,
but I also think,
I'm not saying do it.
But see,
I
the problem
get
with that
what you're
is,
saying.
I'm saying if you do it,
then,
you bet.
Then the calculation that you're making, and it's impossible to make it because you can't project 12 months out on a draft. You're projecting that the player you're going to get with next year's one is going to either be that quarterback or is going to be definitively better than Abdul Carter Travis Hunter.
I'm saying you're getting a 1 for next year so that you can take your 1 next year and the 1 that you get in this. And I'm not saying move up to 1, but move up high enough to get the guy you want.
So that means you wouldn't even be getting the best quarterback in next year's
maybe.
draft.
I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe not.
Because if that quarterback is great and he's that guy,
and they win 6 games,
and they win, so now
then
you got the
10th.
So you got the 15th pick, and what the 12th pick.
They're telling you they don't like these quarterbacks. They can't make it any clearer.
No, I know that.
They don't like these
absolutely
quarterbacks.
telling you that.
That's fine. But here's the thing: if I'm going to be, I think it's almost career suicide. I remember, I'm young enough to remember the Cleveland Browns trading back and passing on Julio Jones. And
they gave Atlanta the pick for Julio Jones.
There you go. That. Take that, right? We're going to move out the way. And
they went down to like 21, I think.
It was crazy. And they kept trading back. I said, they're going to trade back again? And all them picks that they ended up with, all them nice little shiny picks, they drafted a center who only played tackle in college and a nose tackle from Washington who was a one-down player. Danny Shelton and Cam Irving. And the Cleveland Browns really went to the podium and was happy about that.
Yeah, it's for a regime that is on really thin ice, that's not a move you make.
Okay, but wait.
If you're in that position.
Hang on. Are they on thin ice?
Yes.
We think they are.
I don't think Stefanski is. If Andrew Berry doesn't nail this draft, and I don't mean get a C, if Andrew Berry doesn't get an A- or above on this draft, he is gone.
I'm just telling you, we have gotten no indication that they're on none.
Fine.
I agree.
The thing that I've said, though, is Jimmy can be very emotional, and I don't know how you can trust him if you're those guys because he can tell you you're good. I have talked to people who were in that building who said, I got a glowing review, and 2 weeks later I was fired. And that's why I don't know that you can trust the emotional side of it. But I'm just saying, we have gotten Jimmy came out and said, it was my fault, put Deshaun on me.
Rightfully so. I think it was his fault. But Jace, here's the indication.
I'm not saying they shouldn't be on the hot seat. I'm saying we've got no indication.
A lot of organizations don't come out and say that. Jerry Jones does it, but a lot of guys don't. And a lot of guys have been fired in Cleveland. You're like, oh, okay, now you're going to do it. Like, I thought there was all kinds of indication that Hugh was going to go. Maybe 0-16. Didn't deserve a contract extension. He got it. And then all of a sudden he was like, wow, now you're going to fire him? Okay, whatever. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but that's Jimmy. I will say this. I know you're saying we're not getting a whole lot of indication. Here's my indication. Look at his 3rd round fails at wide receivers.
Oh, his draft record
just look at the draft record.
Yeah, I know.
That's all the indication I need. I don't need the front office saying, we're not sure about him. They're saying quietly the same things we're saying about him. You better have a home run draft. It's time. And if he doesn't get this one right, and they keep him, they deserve whatever they get. They deserve whatever they get.
I don't think they'll move the pick. But here's the thing, though.
I don't think they will either, for the record.
I
think they're staying right at 2.
It's too risky.
I think they're staying right at 2.
But I will say this. For me, the only thing the biggest question in the night is going to be whether or not which one of these quarterbacks, if they were on the board and they fall to a certain extent, which one of them are the Browns picking up the phone to call and see about?
Yeah, I agree with that question.
Milroe, Dart, or Sanders?
Well, we're going to, later in the show, a little tease to
figure it out.
Topic. We're going to do our personal.
I hated this question.
Why?
I know you did.
Why?
I hated this. In fact,
because it puts you on the record.
Because 5 years from now, we're going to look like dumbasses.
Right. Or geniuses.
So listen, with that in mind,
Howard's
before
good, Jay will look smart.
I'll
give you that.
Let me tell you something. Before we get to that, I did that. I did your exercise, and I'm like, you know what? I mean, for the sake of career reputation, you've got to take the safe road. And I took the safe road with the exception of Will Howard.
Yeah.
I wanted to put Will Howard at number 1.
I thought you would.
I wanted to.
I thought you would.
Listen, in my mind, he has the most upside and is the less risk.
Yeah.
So I told a buddy of mine this. I said, he's the least risky guy. He goes, well, why would you take the least risky guy? And I go, because it's a bad class.
Yeah.
You're not going to overreach it. In a bad class, you're going to overreach. No. In a bad class, you're going to take the guy that's the least risky.
You know what's interesting about that is when the Cavs took Tristan Thompson, I had somebody in the Cavs tell me he may not be a superstar. He's going to play 15 years in this league and have a great career.
They weren't wrong.
And they weren't. Like, there was better players, it turns out.
Yes.
But that wasn't considered a great
Anthony
draft.
Bennett, Tristan Thompson. Tristan Thompson looked like an all-star compared to Anthony Bennett,
But
right?
that wasn't a great class, although it turned out to, at the time, they didn't think it was a great class.
Right.
And they went with the safe guy, and he wound up helping win a championship. So there is merit to what you're saying.
Might help win a second one.
Well, in a different role. But
Last question on this. Oh, sorry.
No. Go, I was just going to say, like,
I know why you hate it.
Well, I was doing Cavs last night. Obviously, I was at the arena all night, and so honestly, I didn't really study the rundown.
Right.
I didn't get up till like 9:00 today, and I woke up to a text from Mike. I need your answer. I'm like, oh God. So like half asleep, I look at this. I'm like, man, somebody's going to pull this up in 5 years and make us all look like idiots.
Yep, that's why.
So
Well, I'll tell you, we have all different. Everyone has a different ranking
Order.
in the top 3 order and some different names. Last thing before we move on to Guardians. Do you buy this report, or is this just silly season? I don't think the Browns are trading out of 2, right? Can we all agree that
No,
you'd
that's
be pretty surprised if Travis Hunter
That's
or
smoke.
Abdul Carter wasn't the pick at number 2?
I don't think that they will trade out. I think that they'd be open to it because it all goes back to quarterback.
Yeah.
It's all about finding the quarterback. If you don't do it this year, it's about finding them next year. And if there's an offer out there that gets them a future one, I think they would strongly consider it. I don't know that offer exists.
The one little fly in the ointment in that theory,
Yeah.
and it's a long shot, I'll give you, but it's happened. It's possible they find their guy, their quarterback, in this draft, not at number 2.
Absolutely.
Maybe not even at number 33.
Yeah.
So it's almost like you're down to your last roll at the blackjack table, or
I've been
your
there.
last hand.
I've been there.
But
Oh.
you do have
I've been there.
an emergency fund, and in that emergency fund gets you one more hand.
They take the debit card, get the
But you
ATM
play all
card.
night like
No.
that emergency fund isn't
It's
there.
not there.
So I'm sure the Browns are drafting, and in their draft planning, they're saying, our guy probably isn't there. But there is a world where they take someone at 33 or 21.
So what you're telling me is your last bet is on the table, and now you've been dealt aces, and now you got to split the aces.
Yes.
That's exactly what I'm telling you. That's exactly what I'm telling
This
you.
was my last hand. I was leaving,
Double
and
down.
now I got to reach into my
Now
pocket.
I got to go for the emergency fund. So, I mean, it could happen. There is a scenario where that happens. There have been a lot of Super Bowl winning, even Hall of Fame quarterbacks that weren't taken in the top 5.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm saying there's a chance.